Start and I'll put the tweet also.
T20 test on one day. India, England, Australia. For a lucky big three-side slayer. What a player. What a player. What a player. Discussing zinger bells and white balls to hells. Bagging greens for long from New South Wales. Is the IPL heaven or hell? Will the 100 fail or do quite well? What a player! What a player! What a player!
I can't hear you.
Mute. So
Yes.
it's about 2 points. Welcome back, everybody, for a midweek doubleheader between Sunrisers and Punjab Kings. Sunrisers finally managed to get onto the points table. Punjab Kings problems continue. To talk about it all today, again, joining back from San Fran, Adi, how are you doing? How are you feeling this morning, early morning for you?
Yeah, I would say no, firstly, before we get started on this, I wanted to say this in terms of, I know people in India are going through a lot of challenges with the whole COVID situation getting out of hand and healthcare infra kind of crumbling. Not kind of, or looking at the tweets, it's a very challenging time. So hang in there is what I'd say. Stay safe, hang in there, hoping that things get better. And see, this IP, that's at the back of my head because I have family and friends back in India, and most of you watching in India, most of you are watching from India, and most of our audience is Indian. So I want to say it's a challenging time. This is something we are also talking and watching the IPL to take our mind away from the other things which are going on for a short period of time, and hoping things get better. We'll be praying for it and also trying to help in every possible way. Yep. And that's there. I wanted to put the larger context for that. And then coming to this match as well, I'm in San Francisco, that's Pacific Standard Time. So this match started at 3 a.m., right? And the normal body clock generally sleeps at 12 or 1. I generally sleep around at that time. So I didn't get too much sleep today. So I'm thankful that waking up so early and watching the match was worth it, with SRH finally chasing something down after three failures. And yeah, it was a decent performance. I wouldn't say it was a perfect performance or everything great. If I can say one word, I feel it was scratchy, right? So even from the first over, I think Rashid dropped a catch and there were a bunch of misfields. Bairstow missed buys. I think there were 10 extras. In a score of 120, 10 extras, that's a lot, right? And then Siddharth Kaul dropped a catch. It went for a 4. And there were a bunch of things. So again, I'm nitpicking, but despite all that, they got 120. If SRH were at their normal best, or at their not even best, I'm saying average, typical performance where you hold your catches, you bowl decently, you don't give buys, they would have been probably 95 to 100, right? All out. So that's a good sign that despite doing all these bad things, or not everything going according to plan, they were able to still hold them up to 120. And then the next part was, if you look at the batting, right? Give a high level summary. Given the scars of the last 3 chases, if I can call it that, I kind of understand why all 3 of them, Warner, Bairstow, and Williamson, they were playing really slow, right? They never wanted to attack or get out. They were we 3 are there. We have to, we have to do our job and get it done. So they did that well. But I would say, again, maybe this is too wishful for me. I would have hoped to saw a bit more urgency in the middle overs, right? Rather than dot balls, or I think Bairstow and Warner, both of them kind of got stuck and they're playing a bunch of dot balls. and that allowed the net run rate to creep close to a run a ball or like very close to that. So net run rate could have been pushed up better. Like let's say if they would have won in like 16 overs or 15 overs or 17 overs, that would have helped, because in net run rate the number of wickets you win the match by doesn't matter, right? Even if you win by 9 wickets or 3 wickets or 5 wickets, the calculation is the same. But again, as I've said, this is me nitpicking, but happy to get the 2 points. This is the first ever match SRH has won in Chepauk. Having said that, like before this IPL, they only played three and they've lost three this time. So in 7 matches, this is their first win, and hopefully the first of another one in the next match, which they have at this ground again.
Yeah, good man, Adi, for about the gesture about support to India, especially during tough times. We've been doing our part from Waadaplaya as well in making sure keeping some sort of entertainment going. I know it is not ideal time. Personally, family and friends are affected, but we are doing what we can, and let us know if there is anything else we can help. But stay home, stay safe, wear mask and sanitize yourselves. I think that's the least we can do. Coming back to the game, yes, absolutely right. Points on board is points on board. Yeah, could we have done a little bit extra to push the lethal win? Like you said, I was expecting like below 100 bowl out for Punjab Kings, and we chased them down in 14 overs. But listen, the kind of season we have had, I'll take the 2 points coming our way. And net run rate this year seems like there is some sort of disparity between few teams. So I don't know about net run rate being the big one. But let's come back to the team selection. Kane Williamson back, Kedar Jadhav back, and then Siddharth Kaul. I think only complaint I have is about Siddharth Kaul. Outside of that, I think the 11 is coming together.
Yeah, I agree. Like Kane Williamson, he's fit finally, so he walks back into the team, right? And then Kedar Jadhav as well. I like the move that I would have dropped Manish Pandey after 2 matches. They stuck with him for the third match. Fair enough. Like he's your main Indian batsman. Now Kedar is in his place, which is also fair. On Siddharth Kaul, this is what I'm finding a bit difficult to understand. I personally believe he is not in SRH's strongest 11, right? A couple of things. He bowled a no ball, fielding as well. He kind of messed it up. And the bowling also, I personally felt he got a bit lucky. Like the last over, Punjab Kings kind of threw it away, or he got a wicket, which was, yeah, like you get wickets in the death, but it didn't inspire confidence. A couple of things. First is if the pitch is spinning so much, this is a comment for both teams, SRH and Punjab Kings. Why aren't you playing more spinners? Like Huda is bowling overs or Abhishek Sharma is bowling 4 overs, right? Why do you want to play Kaul, like remove Kaul and play like Nadeem, who's on your bench, who's like a regular spinner? Fine, there are Puran and Gale who might hit Nadeem out of the attack. That's fine. But would they not hit Abhishek Sharma out of the attack, or would they not be able to hit Siddharth Kaul out of the attack? And on this pitch, if you actually look at the teams which have won consistently, that's Mumbai or Bangalore, all their genuine spinners are doing really well. Like Chahal as well, after the first 2 matches, the third match, he turned the match around for RCB. Rahul Chahar has been like the key linchpin for all the Mumbai wins. And so essentially, good spinners. And even today, we saw Murugan Ashwin, like Bairstow Warner, they weren't able to pick him. They were like hitting 1 or 2 runs in an over. Yeah, and Rashid, as you all know, like I think he gave more runs in buys and edges than like batsmen like middling the ball when he was bowling. So that was very surprising to me. I would have definitely played Nadeem in this. And also on Punjab Kings, I have this comment, right? You played Fabian Allen, that's fine. You have another spinner called Bishnoy, who has done really well last season. I don't know what's happened to him. He's like at the back burner. You could play him. I would have played him instead of someone else. Like, and to Henriques, he batted well. That's fine. Or Fabian Allen, he also batted. That's fine. But how I'm thinking is, it's not mandatory for you to play 4 foreigners. That's what RCB have shown us, right? If you have that balance, RCB found like a really good T20 player with Shahbaz Ahmed, right? He's bowling really well. He's a pinch hitter of sorts, and he hits runs quickly as well. And then they've realized, no, we don't want to play Zampa or anyone else or like Kane Richardson. We are okay having Indians who are performing better, or in these conditions, especially in Chennai. So I was surprised by both teams' think tank. Like I would load the team up with spinners, and instead of bowling Vijay Shankar or Siddharth Kaul on this pitch, I would have bowled Kedar Jadhav for an over and seam, right? So, yeah, like it's a bit baffling by the teams. And another thing to point out for SRH was the last over. Again, this is me nitpicking. Why didn't Bhuneshwar Kumar bowl and why did Siddharth Kaul bowl when both of them had an over left? I don't know if, like, I was watching the match, I didn't know whether Bhuneshwar is injured or if was out of the park. But if not, I was a bit surprised by that too. So yeah, I don't know, like it feels like teams or like the management hasn't fully learned by looking at this pitch. So yeah, those are my thoughts on the playing 11s and spinners, the dominance of spinners, what I should say.
Syed Hussain pointing out about Bowie looks like thigh strain, which probably is the reason. Hopefully he's okay for India 11's sake. Coming back to Punjab Kings, I think Bishnoi selection is baffling. Morgan Ashwin doesn't fit into the 11. You're absolutely right. Ravi Bishnoi, who was probably the best spinner in 2020 season, should have played. From Siddharth Kaul point of view, again, people feel a little unfair about judging one game, but look, even in 2020 season, he wasn't that great. Krunal Pandya hit him for 24 runs in an over, and probably Sandeep Sharma warrants, even if you're looking for a medium pacer or a fast bowler, get Sandeep Sharma back in probably. I think those are the couple of adjustments. Batting order seems to be coming fine. Let persist with Sandeep Sharma, Abhishek Sharma, and Kedar Jadhav and Virat. I think we should continue with that and let the first three, which is Warner, Bairstow, and Kane, I think that solid top six coming through, and Rashid hopefully during Ramazan continues to hold up with his heat and health, and we should be okay coming into the second half of the tournament. Yeah, a little bit of pressure on Sunrisers to win all, but let's see. And there is a lot of focus on next game of Sunrisers. I don't know if it is Sunday, but Sunday biryani for sure will taste good, especially after this win. KL Rahul, comparing him to Virat Kohli captaincy, both KL Rahul and him could not win a cup. So is it fair to see Punjab Kings need new captain, or again, should this season go on?
I think the season should go on. Like KL Rahul, to be fair to KL Rahul, I think he's been the captain for just like 3 seasons or 4 seasons. Like Kohli has been for like what 8 or 9 seasons now. So that's one part, and the other part is there is no viable option for Punjab Kings. The only next option apart from KL Rahul is either Mayank Agarwal or Mohammad Shami, right? I think those are the only 2 players who have like a fixed spot in the team apart from KL Rahul. So they do not have choices, right? Like for example, in other teams there are choices, right? You could make the argument that for RCB maybe make AB de Villiers the captain, or maybe someone else, or like invest in youth, or like get another younger player, put him on the captaincy. That's okay, but I think Punjab Kings, given their franchisee and also the kind of squad depth they have, I don't think they have a better option than KR Rahul. He's someone who's think of it this way, right? Always you look for India captaincy, you look to plan ahead in the future. Kohli, for all his shortcomings in like the T20 format or like other places, I don't think he's going away as India's captain for the next 3-4 years, right? And then you have Rohit as well, if they want to try dual captaincy structures in like tests and like T20s and limited overs or like ODIs. Now, if you look at like the next generation of captains, I would say there are like 3 contenders right now. One is KL Rahul, who is slightly older compared to the other contenders. The other one is Shreyas Iyer. And then you have Rishabh Pant as well, right? So these are the other players who who have designated spots in India's playing 11, or are always in the squad and like more or less play all matches. So that's there. So it's for them to prove now in the IPL that hey, we have the capability and the tactical nuance to power through these high pressure matches. And we are seeing like Rishabh Pant as well grow with this, and he's become much better from what I have seen at least. Previously, he would be a bit more laid back, like he would be chirping around behind the stump, sometimes singing as well. Nothing, no problem with that. But all of those have like kind of gone away, and now he's always constantly looking at the field and like trying to see what to do, which is good. Like given his age, who's 23, and he has a lot of time on his hands, and he's the next big thing in Indian cricket, right? So that way, and KL Rahul might be that like middle sweet spot, or in between. Like if they feel that hey, Rishabh's too young, KL Rahul kind of is like 30, 31, and then at that point in time you give him the Indian captaincy. Again, these are all things up in the air, but yeah, for Punjab Kings, it's this is another thing, right? Like maybe I'm offending some Punjab King fans, but very rarely do you see that they are like a contender for the IPL. Like before, when it starts, no one is saying that hey, Punjab Kings are the favorites. Maybe that's because they don't have such a vocal strong base. RCB has that because of Kohli and Bangalore, I guess. But Punjab Kings, you don't see that bubbling up, and with their performances as well, right? Like they've made the finals once or twice, and then they don't consistently make it to the playoffs. I personally still like this is too early to predict, but at least from what I have seen in the teams and their squad depth and how they're playing, I'll be really surprised if either of Punjab or Rajasthan make it to the playoffs or put up a good fight for the playoff spot.
Yep.
They have like very weak squads, and I don't know, like other teams are much more rounded, and you feel the bench strength and you see there's hope in the bench strength in other teams. I don't see that in Punjab and Rajasthan.
Got it. Just quickly, couple of more things. News coming in from Sanjay. Johnny best of man of match. Abhishek Sharma should have been. I mean, he set the game for us. Strange.
Yeah,
Johnny
Abhishek
Best.
or even Khalil. Like Khalil was really good, but I guess they were like Johnny was there till the end and chased it down, which is tough on this pitch. So that's fair. Like there are so many awards these days. There's like 5, 6 awards. I'm sure like we are not following as we are talking, but I'm sure all the players might have got one award each. Like one is power player, one is like upstock player of the match, and like other things. Yeah.
Sounds good. Sounds good. And then second game, KKR won the toss and elected to bowl Sunil Narayan, replacing Shakib. Syed Hussain, I think one last question we have is why is Sunrisers not playing Nattu? Is he asked to rest or injured?
I think the commentators or someone said he had like what is this, a knee niggle or something. So maybe that's the case. Maybe they don't want to pressure him. And honestly, on this pitch, we kind of don't miss him. When you play in Mumbai, Bangalore, or Delhi in smaller pitches, where flatter pitches, smaller grounds, there Natarajan becomes a lot more valuable, right? Because at the end of in the death overs, he and Bhuvi, they are your controllers, or who will not leak 15 runs or 20 runs hopefully in an over. So they would come in there. This is okay. Given this, like Khalil has been really good. I'd say this. I was a bit skeptical at the start, like, hey, you're replacing Nattu, but then Nattu is not 100% fit, and Khalil has been doing really well with these variations and also with his pace. I think Khalil is much faster. The peak pace, which he bowls close to 140 and like slightly going above or touching 140, is much faster than Bhuneshwar or Nattu. So he provides that option, and we've seen that pace also actually works as like a variation. Rather than bowling 120 and 130, if you bowl 120 and 140, it's a bit difficult for batsmen to pick. Yeah, so that's there. And let's look forward to SRH's next match, which is Delhi, right? Yep. So correct me if I'm wrong, that is a night game. So I think day games are much more draining for players, especially in Chennai with the heat, right? And SRH will play next versus Delhi. I think Delhi is like a really strong side. and SRH is getting a well-deserved break as well, I guess. Like they can take a break on a
Yeah.
winning note. The match is Sunday 7 a.m. for me, so 7:30 India time. Yeah, so I think the toss, for better or for worse, becomes a lot more crucial again for that match. And it'll be a tough match for SRH. Delhi is really strong. From a squad depth standpoint, I rate Delhi and Mumbai as the top two teams. So, yeah, last season SRH did win against Delhi in their first match. So, fingers crossed, we need to do well. Hopefully the playing 11 and they play more spinners, and then yeah, uh, hopefully that's a good this, hoping that this win is a kickstarter for SRH to continue to win more matches. And yeah, and they've moved up to number 5 now, so this is what one match difference makes, right?
Yeah.
One win. And then if KKR lose today as well, or if CSK, if they win again, SRH goes down or up depending on that. So early days, but yeah, I think it might be again close, and 7 wins might be enough with good run rate, or 8 wins should get you to the playoffs.
Yep. All in all, decent day. Not great for the spectators that it is not a close, high scoring, enthralling. But look, Sunrisers fans will take the 2 points. Ideally, we should have been on the top of the table, right above RCB. But start is a start. Let's get this going. Hopefully, this momentum will help, and they retain the 11. Even if they are playing with Call, give him one more chance and see what comes through. I think this 11 seems like should be good. Sanjay Dubey pointing out neutral viewer most boring game. I think usually when Sanjay takes day off, the games are one-sided. That's how it goes. But listen, Atik, thanks very much for taking time early in the morning. Hope you have a great day because the start was fantastic for you. And we will see you again on Sunrisers game next game. Just reminder, we support all the frontline workers and we're thankful for whatever they are doing globally, especially for folks in India. Continue to stay home, stay safe, take care of your family, look after yourselves, and watch IPL and do what you're doing online. But just stay safe because even note coming in, I think Dhoni's parents are also have tested positive. So it is impacting more and more people this time. Just stay safe and see you next time. And we will continue the endeavor of keeping you entertained during these shows. Thank you, Adi. Have a great day.
All right, thanks.
Take care.
Bye.